Hello subscribers and non-subscribers, welcome back to IL-2 Sturmovik 1946, flying out as a bomber pilot in the United States Army Air Force during D-Day, essentially. We are going back down to where we went in the last mission, although hopefully this time around I don't take damage that would traditionally require me to return to base. But again, hopefully that doesn't happen. Basically, I think we're following the exact same path. I don't think it's changed at all. But let's go ahead and start, since I think I went through I think I read basically all of this last time. Although granted, it has been a while, so let me go and refresh myself real quick. Allied force or Axis forces concentrated in this area. Allied forces concentrated around G8. Right over here, apparently. Even though G8 is basically all behind enemy lines. We've got heavy fighting reported around B9. So right up in this area. And let's see, intense fighting, also more intense fighting at B9. Second Lieutenant Donald Milliken has transferred to the 334th Bomb Squadron, 95th Bomb Group. It is just the four of us, as always, but we are being escorted, as always, by P-47 D-22s, or at least P-47s. I'm not sure if last time we were escorted by D-22s or not, but I think it was. We are going to be running around with 6 500-pound bombs. And let's go ahead and fly. So take off flaps. Oh yes, I should probably turn the engines on. So yep, we've got 4 P-47s, which I think might be less than what we had last time. But don't quote me on that, I don't actually recall how many we had last time. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that my controls were still set up properly, and they appear to be. Oh, what are you doing?
Number 4, return to base immediately.
I'm not going to count that death. Usually I would, but I'm not going to count that one. That one was the game deciding to pretty much be stupid and have my pilot suddenly decide, oh hey, it's time for us to take off. Even though we clearly had people in front of us, so... Again, while I would normally count that one, I'm just not, or normally I would count deaths since this is the third mission. That one I'm not going to, because that is just far too stupid. I think these planes have chocks, so even if I throttle up now, I don't think I should move. But just to be on the safe side, I'm not going to start throttling up until 3 has left. Okay, it looks like the controls are... So we do have chocks, however, the power meter has apparently decided to reverse itself. So we shall throttle up to 55%. And I actually gotta go and check. What are my chocks again to remove them? I don't recall. It has been quite a while. So let's see real quick. Number 7. Okie dokie. So wait for him to be a little bit further along. And now I think we're fine. Why does it look like my power is only moving in intervals of 55%? It shouldn't be. Um, I hope that my flight stick is still functioning, because I'd rather not spend the money right now to try and... Oh, it probably also helped. Yeah, my there we go. Well, it seems to somewhat have corrected itself now. Oh, wrong button. Gears up. Okay, yeah, like after 55, it just kind of shoots up. So it kind of seems as though these may not be really, or it seems like I may actually have to buy a new flight stick potentially, because it doesn't seem to be functioning properly. It doesn't increase incrementally properly, at least.
What the hell? Stay with your leader. Over.
So, that sucks.
Heading 210.
There goes the game again, claiming mission over, because I guess we didn't get there in time before the convoy arrived, even though the convoy was like right next to the airfield anyway, and thus it's pretty much impossible for us to get there in time. What the hell are you doing, autopilot?
Return to base immediately. Over. Heading 2
I don't know if I want to count that death,
altitude 05.
because autopilot, I would say, pretty much got me killed, because it, for some inexplicable reason, has apparently decided to do its own damn thing there. And it does seem as though my flight stick may need to be replaced. I don't know. You know what? We're not going to have an actual episode for this week. What I am going to do is this, however. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to upload this video.
210. Altitude.
And I'm going to pose the question to you guys. Would you like for me to count that death, or would you prefer for me to not count that death? Simply because, again, while I do personally kind of blame autopilot, it does seem as though, again, my flight stick is acting up, and thus may need to be replaced. If it does need to be replaced, that's going to have to wait a while. And so, yes, like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and upload this video. We're not going to have a full mission. I'm just going to label this as, I don't know, mission 2.5 or something, since I wouldn't label it as mission 3, since it's not a real mission. And as I said, I will just be posing the question to you guys. Would you like for me to count that death? Because I kind of, personally, I consider it a kind of BS death. But I'll leave it to you guys as to whether or not you want for it to be counted as one or not. And I will also go ahead and just... What's the term I'm looking for? I'll go and probably end up replacing or buying a new flight stick in the relatively near future, because again, it did seem as though it was acting up a bit. For whatever reason, the throttle didn't, or the power didn't seem to increase properly in regular increments. It seemed, or it was doing it in odd regular increments. It would go from like 0 to 23 to 55 to 66 to 90 to 110. Which doesn't really make flying possible. And I'm not sure why it did that, honestly. I really don't understand, because this has not really changed at all. So there's no reason for it to do that. Maybe it's because it's trying to use the U-axis rather than this Z-axis that it should probably try to be doing. You know what? I'm going to do one quick test real quick with this. And I'm going to go and record it so you guys can see it. I'm going to see if maybe it's an issue with it trying to use the wrong axis for throttle. No, it seems as though that issue is still there, even if I go with the Z-axis, although the Z-axis seems to work slightly better. But after 55, it basically doesn't increase until I'm pretty much at the end of the throttle, in which case then it just kind of shoots up from 55. Yeah, I think my flight stick actually needs to be replaced. So, as I said, I'm going to go ahead and leave this video. I'm going to go ahead, render this out, and upload it. And again, pose the question to you guys. Would you like for me to count that death or not? Because again, it is a death that I would normally count, even though I personally do feel as though it's a bit of a BS death. And it could potentially maybe be blamed on my flight stick acting up and potentially needing to be replaced. So I'm going to leave it to you guys. I'm going to go and try to find myself a relatively decent flight stick. I say relatively decent because I'd rather not go and spend an arm and a leg because, well, I've got other things that I would wish to spend money on. And a flight stick is not really at the top of that list, personally. But if it does need to be replaced, then I will just go ahead and do so, but I'll probably replace it with a kind of lower end model one because, again, I don't really want to go and spend an arm and a leg just to get a flight stick that, well, one I only use for this series, really. And I don't, again, it's not something that's like at the top of my priority list, although that's mostly because I don't really need to. But nonetheless, as I said, I'm going to go ahead, render this video out, upload it. You guys get to decide, do I count that death or not? If I do, then I will go ahead and probably throw a poll up on Google Plus that provides you guys the choices of what we do next. And if you guys would prefer for me to not count the death, then I will probably have the series go on hold for a little while as I try to find myself a nice but still relatively cheap flight stick. But until then, sadly, I'll probably go and record something else to upload with this afterwards, simply because this is just too short of a video for IL-2 Sturmovik. But yeah, so I'm gonna, like I said, render this, upload it, you guys decide, and I'll probably go and record and upload something else that'll be going up, I guess, probably about 30 minutes after this. Just so you guys at least have some actual, like, real gameplay footage of something. But yeah, so it's gonna be that. It does seem as though my flight stick may need to get replaced. More so because of the throttle, I think, than anything else. Everything else seemed more or less okay, but the throttle seems to have been acting up. And I could probably try to do throttle manually on my keyboard, but that's not really going to be, well, one, enjoyable for me, but two, also, I think a bit of a pain, because I don't think it's possible for me to go and have it increase in the same way it does if I use my flight stick. In this case, I think I can increase it incrementally by 10% each time by just hitting like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. But that's not exactly what I want. I don't really all the time need exact increments like that. Maybe I do want 55 at one point or something like that. But that's going to be this video. As I said, it's going to be labeled as Mission 2.5, I guess, and I'll probably go and put some sort of title there afterwards to indicate that it's a question to you guys. I don't think I'm going to go and set this up as an actual poll on Google Plus, so you guys are going to have to leave comments. I know some of you guys don't like to, but you're going to have to leave comments if you want me to know your opinion on this. But until then, which probably next week at the earliest, will be when I will record the actual Mission 3. But I don't quite know if that'll be the case, because that all does depend upon what you guys vote and whether or not I find myself a nice but still relatively cheap flight stick. Although this flight stick is fairly old, it is from the computer that I used prior to this one, so it has been around for probably 5+ years now. And so I'm not too surprised that it's falling apart. I mean, I'd already seen signs of it somewhat falling apart, but nothing with the actual flight stick itself, but more so with the ability to, or with some of the accessories that came with it. Oh, I say accessories, it's not really true, but some of the things that I would normally use to like modify the height and whatnot. I had noticed that those fell apart, but I didn't really need to adjust it anyway, so it didn't really matter. But that's this video. As I said, I've just kind of been saying that's this video, then talking about something else, and then saying that it's the end of the video, and then talking about something else again. Sorry about that, but this is actually the end of the video now. So make your decision, and as always, like, favorite, comment, subscribe, share, and I will see you guys next time. Until then, goodbye and farewell.